see you all. Marianne Frangulis here from MORE, Massachusetts Organization for Addiction Recovery. We're so happy to have you all today. Statewide Association of People in Recovery, families and friends, educating the public about the value of living in recovery. Is that a good thing? Yay! And do you believe that faces that are visible and voices that are vocal are going to prove that recovery is valuable? Yay! And that is how we become victorious? Yes, indeed. Very good. And do you believe that recovery is for everyone? Every person? Every family? Every community? Yes, and speaking of communities, I think there's people from Room to Grow here. Yay! And how about from Stairway to Recovery? Yeah! And how about Recovery on the Harbor? How about Divine? How about BSAS, the Bureau? All is good, good. And to all, who else? St. Francis, hey! Elliot, Recovery, how do you do, Elliot? Very good. Well, let's get this show on the road. I'm going to introduce you now to Noelle Sierra, who is going to be the MC of this program. And then at the end, we're going to march to Faneuil Hall. It's going to be great, and we'll give you directions. They're being passed out, but don't pass out, okay? Good enough. Noelle Sierra.
If I was at a football stadium, that would be so weak. It's 9:45 in the morning. I need to hear you make some noise. Come on, we're in recovery. We want to let the city of Boston know what recovery looks like, yeah? All right, so let's make some noise. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being here. We welcome you to our MORE Recovery Celebration. Yeah. Our first speaker, let's welcome our first speaker here is Father Joe White. Welcome. Is Father Joe White present? Well, Father Joe White is not present, so what we're going to do at this moment is we're going to continue to move forward like we always do. And we would like to have our honorable mayor of the city of Boston. Put your hands together. Let's welcome Miss Michelle Wu.
Good morning. Thank you, Noelle. Good morning, everyone. Oh, wow, I'm not as loud. I thought the mic was loud. It's just Noelle. I'm going to try to yell and be as loud. I am so grateful to all of you. You inspire me every day with your strength, your love, your determination to make sure that every single person in our community will be seen and heard and treasured. This is a city that has been a safe harbor for hundreds of years. And what that means today is that we need to be that home for everyone. It's not always easy, and I know we each come with our stories and relationships and struggles and dreams. But our goal here at the City of Boston is to make sure that the infrastructure we can build, the support mechanisms, really break down silos. Because you can't talk about recovery without talking about housing, without talking about jobs, without talking about mental health, transportation, access to everything that makes for a healthy community. And so I want to thank you all and all of our partners here today for what you're doing so that we can break down those barriers and silos across every community. We've seen some real important signs of hope and progress in the last few years, thanks to your leadership. We have seen the number of overdoses go down in Boston in recent years, thanks to your leadership. Although we hold up that even one single overdose is one too many for our community, for families. Over the last few months, I don't want to get these numbers wrong, under the leadership of Dr. Bisola Ojikutu, who you'll hear from shortly, our incredible director and leader champion voice for public health in the city, and under our chief of housing, Sheila Dillon, partners like Tanya Del Rio leading our efforts on the ground every single day. We have put funding from our federal recovery dollars directly into ensuring that we can create housing that is accessible, that is low threshold, that is connected to services and treatment. We need that even more. Our Housing First model currently serves nearly 200 people, and we've already connected 60 people to permanent housing. 60 lives changed, 60 families supported, 60 examples of hope that will continue to open doors for all those to come afterwards. So I want to thank you all because I know this work isn't easy. And amidst all the other challenges happening in the world, sometimes it feels overwhelming that we have to keep going and keep pushing our stories and our lives into the public conversation. But I want you to know that it is working. Breaking the stigma of recovery, of treatment, of being human connectors. This is what we're aiming for every day. Your efforts today are incredibly crucial. And so as you take our advocacy up to the State House and beyond, we stand with you in the city of Boston. I thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all of your partnership, leadership, and love for our city. Great to see you all.
Let's give it up one more time. Mayor Michelle Wu. Our next speaker, one more time. Our next speaker is not only a friend, but he's also the president of our board of MORE. Let's put your hands together. Let's welcome Kevin McCarthy.
Woo! Hey, thank you all for coming out today. And I want to say thank you first and foremost to the Honorable Mayor Wu for showing up, because we all know that 95% of recovery is showing up, right? And we got to show up for our families. We got to show up for our communities. And here we're showing up for our state and carrying a message that we will not go away, we will be heard, and we will continue to push this message forward until the change we expect is the change we see. Can I get a hey? All right. Most importantly, okay, we're going to have you pushing it forward. You need to show up. You are the message. I'm not the message. MORE isn't the message. Your recovery is the message. And as my friend Scotty would say, recovery is real. And you are the evidence. Okay? So keep showing up. We appreciate you being here. And let's have a wonderful day together, because this is a celebration of life. And as a person in long-term recovery, my recovery depends on you and the changes that are made in this state. So I want you to have the best day you can have. Thank you very much. Thank you for showing up for MORE. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for your families, for your communities, because that's what we need you to continue to do. Thank you very much.
One more time. Thank you, Kevin. Our next speaker. Excellent. Our next speaker is from the Department of Public Health, Bureau of Substance Addiction Services, and she is the director. Let's put our hands together and let's welcome Deirdre.
Thank you, and good morning. My name is Deirdre Calvert, and I am the director of the Bureau of Substance Addiction Services, and I am also a person in long-term recovery. So recovery is not for the faint of heart, but it is for everyone. I tell folks all the time, recovery didn't give me gifts, but it allowed me to see and access the gifts that were right in front of me. Recovery, by definition, if you look it up, is the action or process of regaining possession or control over something that was lost or stolen. This definition is so powerful and so on point because addiction stole my self-worth, my dignity, and it robbed me of the person I knew I needed to be. And though through the power of recovery, I was able to get back my personal power that was stolen from me through addiction. But my recovery didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened because I have the privilege of having a place to live, because I was safe. I had food, and I had and have people around me who love me. We have to ensure that our brothers and sisters who are struggling are afforded the same opportunities that I was. We cannot expect the beauty of recovery to be found when we don't have safe housing, when we're hungry, when we're abused. We need to fight for the dignity and self-worth of all individuals. We have to fight for those who haven't been able to receive this gift of recovery yet. As I said, recovery isn't for the faint of heart, but it is for everyone. We have to use this gift and that strength to help your fellow humans. Thank you and happy Recovery Day.
Give it up one more time. Come on. Our next speaker is the director of the Mayor's Office of Recovery Services, the first and only municipal substance use recovery office in the United States. Let's put our hands together and let's welcome Ms. Jennifer Tracy.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for everyone for coming out. I think this is good. Yep, thank you. I just want to say a couple of thank yous first. Thank you to Marianne, of course, for organizing this day tirelessly every single year for the past, I think, probably 25 or more. The folks from BSAS who are behind the scenes doing a lot of the work to get this day up and going. I wanted to acknowledge Tanya Del Rio and Michaela Nee, who are here from the Mayor's Office, I think their first Recovery Day. And all of the staff at Recovery Services and the Boston Public Health Commission, AHOPE, the Engagement Center, the Street Outreach Team, PATHS, the Recovery Center, the Mattapan Campus, Wyman, Entre Familia, and Transitions, because they're unable to be here because they're at work. Thank them as well, of course. Okay, so I wrote some notes down on my phone. I'm trying to be very millennial here. I would like to take a minute to acknowledge everyone here. Everyone that's here right now, the residents of recovery homes, peers from recovery centers, the staff of all the above, those in early recovery, whether it's a day or 101 days, the program directors, the outreach workers. What you have endured the last couple of years is really undefinable. And yet, here you are. Resilience, help, partnership, hard work, gratitude, perseverance. None of us get here alone. I have had the benefit in this role to work with partners from all over, and I have seen some amazing creative things happen just in the past year. Don't let anyone tell you differently. There are so many, but I want to acknowledge a few that came to mind as I was writing the tea. The RISE Foundation. I don't know if Julie Burns and her crew are here, for funding accessible grant opportunities for harm reduction and recovery support, because you can do both, and we must do both. Is Leah Randolph here? Leah brought the Black Alcoholism Addiction Conference back to Boston this year, building strength and knowledge in the workforce focused on culturally tailored treatment. Shelter providers, Pine Street, St. Francis, BPHC, working with harm reduction experts to serve everyone outside their doors. Boston Medical Center, BSAS, and the recovery centers coming together earlier this month to commemorate the 20,000 lives of our friends, our family workers, and co-workers, right down on the Boston Common with the flag planting. We will continue to think about everyone we have lost as we open new programs and as we forge ahead. Coming together and standing up an overnight system in Boston this past year with 6 new transitional housing sites for people who use drugs to move from tents inside. Unprecedented collaboration. Victory programs, opening up a drop-in space just yesterday for women, despite neighborhood pushback, because we cannot and we will not give up on any one individual, because we know too much. We need your voice and input because we are still here talking about stigma, and we know that stigma keeps people from accessing care. So please continue to raise up your voices to legislators, policymakers, and neighbors, because your voice is the one that matters most. Thank you for all you do 365 days a year. So now I have the pleasure of introducing the next speaker. Listen, transition can be hard. Let me tell you, 3 mayors in less than 1 year, quite an experience. But with every experience, we get better. New leaders emerge and other people are given opportunities. It's my pleasure to work with and to introduce to you the Mayor's Commissioner of Health and Executive Director of the Boston Public Health Commission, Dr. Bisola Ojikutu.
Good morning. It's so good to be here this morning, and thank you so much, Moore, for your partnership, for your collaboration, and thanks to all of you who are here. Specifically, I want to thank everyone who is here who is an advocate, everyone who has lost someone due to overdose, everyone who is in recovery, or who is somewhere, anywhere along their journey to recovery for being here today. Your presence is an important symbol of hope. Within the Commonwealth, Boston has been hard hit by the substance use crisis. Many of us, including myself, have lost family members, friends, and coworkers. And as we're all very well aware, more than 200 individuals are experiencing substance use disorder and co-occurring mental health crises living in the area we call Mass and Cass. Unfortunately, most people who drive by Mass and Cass and look at the people living there assume that for those individuals, this is the end. It's assumed that people go there to die. And it's assumed for them, there is no hope. As a public health leader, I've actually been asked on numerous occasions, why do we bother? Why do we spend valuable time and city resources to provide services to this population? I'm going to tell you that my response is informed by my experiences as an infectious disease doctor caring for people living with HIV, being treated for or just living with hepatitis C. Many of my patients have struggled with substance use disorder, and they've undoubtedly faced many obstacles, and yet they are in recovery. They are survivors. Prevention works, harm reduction works, treatment is effective, and people can and certainly do recover. So the question to why bother, the answer to why bother is, how can we not bother? At the Boston Public Health Commission, we support recovery with strategies that are evidence-based, and we know that recovery can't happen without comprehensive support systems. It can't happen without housing. That's why we have 6 low-threshold housing sites, and we need more. It can't happen with job opportunities. That's why we're expanding them for people who are experiencing substance use disorder. They need to earn an income, and they need to foster a sense of self-efficacy. We need more connection to vital harm reduction tools and strategies to prevent fatal overdoses. They also need to be supported by their communities. We're expanding services within neighborhoods across the city through creation of day spaces and the establishment of neighborhood engagement teams, which will provide outreach not just to individuals, but to their communities so that people understand what it's like to live with substance use disorder, and hopefully we will be decreasing substance use stigma. We are very grateful to the mayor and to the state and to our partners such as Moore who are leading these efforts. You know, I want to express my deepest gratitude to my colleagues, those colleagues who are street outreach workers. Because we do not take the time to thank them for their daily efforts, for getting out there on the street, for talking to people, for meeting them where they're at, for realizing that the road to recovery is not always a linear line. This is really, really important. Even during these last 2 years during COVID, where times have really been rough for people, they didn't stop their work. We didn't lose them. They were out there every single day, at night, in the morning. They stayed late. They are doing the work that so many people will not do. And lastly, this is critically important. While we support individuals, we need to fix this broken system. Numerous factors have created and perpetuated the crisis that we are existing in. Barriers to behavioral and mental health care, underinvestment in prevention, homelessness, poverty, substance use stigma, and structural racism. Data show that through the early part of 2021, Black men made up the largest increase in opioid overdose deaths statewide. This emphasizes that there is a critical need to address racial inequity, promote justice, and ensure that services that we offer are not available to some, they are available to all. So once again, I'd like to thank the Moore team for hosting this event. And we all need to realize that undoubtedly we will continue to face many challenges, but we need to remain optimistic that through our partnerships, through our collaboration, through our shared goals, through our partnerships with you, we can make recovery a reality for a greater number of people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bisola. Bisola, you know, I love the things that are being said, and we need to give it up a little bit more. I feel like I'm really loud. Come on, one more time, let's give it up. Our next speaker is the Secretary of Health and Human Services for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and also a friend of Moore. Let's please put our hands together and welcome Mary Lou Sutters.
Visible, vocal, valuable, and loud. All right, he says you can be louder. Good morning. What a beautiful, beautiful morning, because we are together. And there is power in community in us being together, right? Come on, my friends from Moore. My friends from Moore, may be small in numbers, but mighty in connections and mighty in commitment to ensure every person has a road to recovery, whatever that road may be, right? All right, I can keep speaking. So I am here, my heart to yours. As some of you know, all of us are touched by addictions, whether as a family member, we lose a loved one, and the like. And many of you have heard me tell the story of a 15-year-old young, annoying adolescent. That was me. My mom died from cirrhosis 4 days after her 40th birthday from untreated mental illness. No one understood the depths of her despair, and doctors told her just get off from the couch and she would be fine. So I took that 15-year-old anger, and I channeled it not into grief, but into action. And I know that's what all you are about, because we could swallow in our grief, but it's taking our grief and our anger into positive action. And that is what today is about. So march into Faneuil Hall, spending time together, celebrating every day that you take a step forward, and acknowledging that there's going to be days when you take a step backwards, but there's going to be that next day when you can step forward. And there are people to support you and not judge you. As my good friend Bisolo said, there are challenges. And you know what? I've really come to that point in my life where challenges are opportunities not yet realized. That we take our action and our voices and we make it positive, right? So I will always walk with more. I have learned so much from each and every one of you who has the grace and courage to sit with us, to tell us what needs to be done, more of, better of, less of, and the like, because it's all of our perspectives together that will ensure that everyone, not someone, but everyone, has the doors that are open to treatment, recovery, pathways, good health, and good lives, because that's what all of us want. So from my heart to yours, I'm always with you. Thank you for what you do, for being here, and I want you to be loud and proud and visible and valuable.
Yes, we just want to say thank you for being loud and proud and visible and vocal and valuable, Secretary Mary Lou Sutters. Yes, indeed. We've been very, very, very happy. I have never had a Secretary of Human Services invite me to her office before, but she's had an open door for the last 8 years, and we love her dearly.
Oh.
Thank you. Back to Noel.
Let's give it up one more time. Come on, let me hear you. All right. Thank you very much. Our next speaker, Our next speaker is the Executive Director of Massachusetts Office on Disability. She has 34 years experience working in the field of disabilities, having been Area Director at the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. Please put your hands together. Let's welcome Executive Director Mary Mahan McCauley.
Stand right here. Is this good? Good morning, everyone. Wow, I love rowdy crowds. This is great. Talk about recovery capital. Just being here is increasing recovery capital in all of us that are in recovery or working in the field of recovery. My name, as you heard, Mary Mahan McCauley. I've been the Executive Director of Massachusetts Office on Disability since September of 2019. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here. I myself have a couple of different disabilities, and I disclose them loudly and proudly. I've been in recovery since 1980, since my early 20s. I'm not going to tell you what year, but since my early 20s, I've been in recovery, and thank God, I am just so blessed and so happy to be on this journey. As many of you, I'm sure, realize or can agree with, I probably would not have lived past the age of 27 if I didn't put down the substances that I was doing on a very, very regular basis. And so I'm very happy to be alive. And then on top of that, to have such a position of a little bit of influence within the Commonwealth. Blindness and substance use disorder are both disabilities. Sometimes people forget addiction is a disability. In our office, Massachusetts Office on Disability, can talk to people about, what their rights are as far as medically assisted treatment and reasonable accommodations in the workplace. If you have to get to particular meetings or therapy appointments, you might be able to rearrange your schedule. That's okay to ask for under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So, I don't have a lot of things prepared to say. It's fabulous to be here. And I just join with all of you, with heart and soul, that we need to continue. Anyone here working in recovery or living in recovery, each day at a time, hour at a time, really, we all need to continue to do it. There's too many people, young people, older people, dying from addiction. It's just such an epidemic. It's so awful. But we here have the power to spread the message of hope. And the message of hope has to be strong in all of our individual lives and experiences. That's why it's important to pass it on. It's not something to be ashamed of. If you're here, you're in recovery, awesome, right? All right, thank you very much and have a fabulous day.
Let's give it up one more time. Come on now. Hey, I have a question for you this morning. Are you ready to let Boston know that you're in recovery? That was only half of y'all. Some of y'all didn't have breakfast this morning. Are you ready to let Boston know you're in recovery? Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, I ask you to look over to your side over there. There's some folks that have some signs up and they're ready to march. As you get behind them, as we start marching the streets of Boston, we're going to let everyone know what recovery looks like. We're going to let everyone know what recovery is, and we're going to come together and meet at Faneuil Hall. Let's go. Let's hear it up. Let's go. Everyone follow suit. Let them hear you. Make some noise. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Recovery is the way to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Recovery is the way to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Recovery is the way to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho.